Why hello there. Today's look is going to be heavily inspired by Beyonce. I've been loving Queen Bee's songs lately. I've been obsessed with them, and one of the ones that I've been listening to most often is Videophone. And if you guys have ever seen her makeup in her music video for that one, it is stunning. So my eyes and my lips are very inspired by what she looked like in that video. So without further ado, let's get started. To start off, I am going to be taking my Kat Von D foundation. Now, I have actually never bought Kat Von D foundation in my life. Everything that I've ever used has been a sample from Sephora, so I have like a million of these little guys, because every time I go to a different Sephora, I'm like, oh, can I try a sample size of the Kat Von D foundation? And they're like, sure, what color are you? So it's funny because when I've gone to different Sephoras, depending on where I go, they color match me differently. Like one of them gave me this shade, which is the lightest shade that she makes, Light 42, which doesn't really match my skin tone. It makes me a lot paler, which I like though for the goth look. Other places have given me Light 45, Light 48, which are completely different shades, so it was like, what are you guys doing in Sephora? I mean, they didn't really use the color match system, like the whole thing where they use the digital, I don't know what it is, but it's like a digital thing that reads your skin tone and then matches you, so you have a certain number, I think, for each foundation in any brand. So I have not done that yet, but when I do, I'd be curious to see what shade I am for real in Kat Von D. But I just wanted to go in with a lighter foundation than I would normally, because when I do go out looking more goth, I prefer to go out looking like really, really pale as I possibly can, just because I think that looks really beautiful. And there are moments when I don't really feel like packing on a lot of foundation, and those days when I go to work, I just kind of like do a BB cream or something like that, and I don't really, want to spend a lot of time on my face, and so doing a full face look like this isn't something I do every day. And for right now, I'm just going to be taking my foundation up to right above my eyebrows. I'm not going to do I don't know if you can see, my light is so bright it's kind of blowing me out, but I'm not going to do this whole area of my forehead just yet, because I've noticed that in the past, whenever I put on my eye makeup, I tend to really crease my forehead as I do this, and my foundation always settles into the cracks and crevices of my head, so to avoid that, I'm just going to put my foundation on my forehead last, so I don't crease. So now, because I want to go in and have a really, really bright face, like in the video, Beyonce had really bright highlights under her eyes, which I'm going to use, and this is a lot, by the way, I don't know if you guys can see, but this is the Urban Decay Naked Skins Concealer, and this stuff is the most ridiculously pigmented stuff I've ever come across. It's actually a bit more yellow toned than my foundation right now, but that's okay, I'll work with it. And I'm just painting triangles, going down from my eyes down to about right towards the end of my nose. I'm also going to highlight my Cupid's bow down the center of my nose and my chin. And then once you have all that on there, just going to blend that out with and I was using a damp makeup little wedge sponge before to put on my foundation, so just blend that in until you are satisfied. I was going to use my brand new Ben Nye Super White, so super white you can't even see it, powder. However, I'm having some issues getting the top off of this. It's like a little sifter plastic top. I need a strong man to help me. Screw it, I'll do it myself. Damn it, I don't know how to get it off. Hold on, I'm gonna go try to figure this out and I'll be back. That was way harder than it should have been. This is ridiculous, this little plastic cap on the top. It was stuck so tightly I had to get my tweezers, my handy dandy tweezers, and like jiggle it in there to open it up, but it's all good now. I can use it. Well, I am loving how white this powder is. I don't know. From the way that I'm seeing it in my viewfinder, it looks like the camera is just completely blowing out my face because it's so white. Which is a good thing, but I also want you guys to be able to see it, so hopefully it's not completely invisible. I'm just packing on the powder underneath my eyes. I'm gonna let it bake while I do my eyeshadow, so I'm even more pale. And this also is acting as a way to set the concealer. And because the Kat Von D foundation is matte, it's a matte finish, you don't really need to set it with the powder, which is great. But with the concealer on top, I just want to make sure that it's not going to crease, because my under eyes do have quite a few wrinkles in them, and I don't want them to be setting into the fine lines and be wrinkling throughout the rest of my day. Tip for goth people out there: wear something black that you don't care about when you're putting on your foundation and your powder, because it will get all over. My scarf right now is completely, it looks like it's been snowing on it. It's all snowy. And I'm also gonna bake my cupid's bow, my nose, and my chin. And for anyone not familiar with the concept of baking, because remember I did this on my Snapchat once and people are like, what are you talking about? What are you baking? It's just putting on a lighter shade of powder so it kind of lightens and it soaks into your skin, and then once you dust it off later, it kind of brightens the areas where you had let it sit. So it's kind of handy when you want to do like a really bright dramatic look like this, or even when you're just doing basic contouring. And also under the eyes, it kind of acts as like a barrier. If you have any fallout from your eyeshadow, then you can just sweep it off and not have to worry about it getting stuck in your foundation, which is very nice. Now for my contour, I'm just using this contour kit by City Color, and I'm taking the darkest contour color, and I'm just going to start bringing that in from my ear down, and I want it to be really dramatic, which is why it's so dark. But don't worry, I'm going to blend it out, and then I'm also going to bake my contour as well. And if you guys are looking for a good contour brush, I highly recommend. It's a brush from Sephora that I use. It's called the Pro Mini Coverage Airbrush in 53.5, but I was asking the girl at the counter at Sephora if she recommended any brushes for contouring, because I already have the Sephora Kabuki contour brush, and it's good, but it's kind of big for my taste. So she showed me this one, and she was like, I know this says it's an airbrush brush, but airbrush brush. But it's actually multi-use, and I always use it for my contour, and honestly, it blends so beautifully. I think that no matter what you really use for your contour, as long as you have the right tool, the right brush, it's going to look amazing, because this blends out anything I use just beautifully. It looks awesome. Every time. And also keep in mind, if you're doing your makeup with indoor lighting, if you're planning on going out later like I am, just make sure that before you leave the house, that you go outside and take a picture in normal lighting and natural lighting and see how your face looks, because sometimes I've gone out and I've noticed that some of my foundation wasn't blended properly, or I had some dry spots, or I missed something, and it was really embarrassing. So save yourself the embarrassment and just double check your face before you leave the house. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with my contour. And now I'm going to go in with some more of that Ben Nye powder, and I'm going to bake the bottom of it so it gives it like a really kind of sharp defined line. And you can just choose however you want to bring the contour. I kind of want to have mine in the middle of my cheek right there, so it gives it a really sharp defined line. Because contouring, the whole point of it is to make your face look different, and I like to have my face look very sharp, my cheekbones to look raised, which is why I'm contouring in this fashion. If you want a more subtle contour, you can change the way that you're putting the shape of your baking. You can have it come up more this way to be more natural looking, but I like the unnatural or supernatural look. While you're waiting for your face to bake, I'm going to get started with my eyeshadow. And for this color that I'm going to be using, I'm going to be using my Maybelline Color 24-Hour Tattoo, Color Tattoo, metal one. It's the blue one, and it's gorgeous. It's called Electric Blue, appropriate. It's this really beautiful dark blue color, and the reason I'm going to use this to start my eyeshadow look is because I'm going to use a really beautiful silver to start it off with, and if you use a blue base with a silver eyeshadow, it really makes it pop. Because silver is a cool tone rather than a warm tone. I'm going to zoom you guys in here a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing, but before anything I'm always going to put on a primer, just because I don't know if you can see my eyeshadow, the concealer that eyeshadow, I didn't put any eyeshadow on yet, but the concealer that I put on my eyelids is already creasing, so I don't want that to happen later on. So I'm just going to put on some of my Urban Decay primer potion to make sure that my eyeshadow sticks. Because I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing today. I just know that my friends are making plans, so I want to be prepared for anything. Originally our plans were to go snow tubing, but I don't know if that's going to happen because it is a lot warmer outside than we anticipated. Now to apply the blue, I'm just going to go in with this Miyoko beauty brush, and it's a small eyeshadow brush, and it's really great because it has a rounded tip to it, so that'll be good for getting in the small of my inner corners. And I'm just going to take that on the brush and start patting it on. Now in the music video, Beyonce had a really defined eyeshadow look, and I'm not quite sure yet if that's something I want to imitate, but we'll see. Now that I have my blue base down, and I highly recommend using different brushes because I'm going to be using this blue color again, I'm going to use another Miyoko beauty brush, but this is a concealer brush. It's the same kind of brush, I just like using different brushes for different shadows and colors. So I'm going to take the silver color from the Urban Decay Electric palette, and I'm just going to pat that all over the blue that I just put down on my lids. Fabulous! Now that that's done, I'm going to go back in with that blue color and just pat it on. It's going to be my transition color between the black and the silver, and I think it adds a little pop of color, which is nice. And now that that's done, I'm going to be taking my Maybelline black color tattoo eyeshadow, and I'm going to be taking the brush that comes with the Urban Decay Electric palette and this smaller tipped one, and I'm just going to be loading that up with the black. And I'm going to be drawing a line extending from the bottom of my lashes up and out. This is going to act as our wing. And if you feel like you don't have a steady enough hand to do this, what I usually do is I take a brush and I just kind of line it up where I want my line to be, and I just kind of use that as a guide. And that will also kind of keep your eyeshadow or whatever you're doing straight and clean. So now that I've finished putting on my cream base where I want it to be, and I'm going to smoke this out because I don't really like how sharp this wing is on the top, I'm just going to go in with that same Urban Decay brush, the other end of it though, the bigger fluffier end, and this really dark matte black eyeshadow from Sephora, and I'm just going to start putting that on top, blending it into the blue, and then just kind of smoking it out. Now to smoke out my black eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this blending crease brush from Pure. I went into Ulta one day and I was looking for, a brush just specifically for blending because I always had trouble blending when I first started doing my eyeshadow looks. And I was asking, wait, did I say Ulta? I meant Kohl's. I was in Kohl's and I was asking the person at the makeup counter saying, hey, I need a really good, blending brush. And at the time, I was just starting to get into brushes and looking at different brands. And I was looking at the Real Techniques brush, and I bought their, what's it called? Their Beauty Blender, and I really love it. I usually use that for when I'm blending my foundations. And now I was asking her, so what would you recommend for a blending brush? And at first she looked at the Real Techniques ones, but that one only came in like a little package deal, and I already had some of their other brushes, so I didn't want to buy two. So then she showed me this one, and I really like it. Now, something to bear in mind, and that I just found out, this eyeshadow in the front is really glittery, and if you try to blend this way and then blend back, you're gonna get some silver when you come back. So just a forewarning if you're using that eyeshadow. And for my brows, what I usually do is I take this angled brush. I wish I knew the brand of these because I have a whole set of them and they're fantastic. I've been using them for years. And I'm going to take this dark brown eyeshadow from Sephora. I love this dark brown so much. It works so perfectly for my eyebrows. And I'm so scared I'm gonna hit pan on it because I've been using it for like 2 years now. And I love it so much because it's like the perfect shade for my eyebrows. For someone like me, you want like an ashy brown for your brows, because I tried using the shade Vox from the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca remix palette, and it's way too warm toned. It looked like I had reddish brown eyebrows, which is not what I was going for. But that's how you learn. Now my eyeshadow isn't completely straight, so I'm going to go in with another angled brush and my concealer and just kind of clean up the edges of that a little bit. Now that that's nice and sharp, I'm also going to be putting some concealer around my brows using the same brush and the same concealer. Now before I do anything else, I'm going to be putting on... My house makes the creepiest noises sometimes, I swear. I'm going to be using the NYX lip primer just to like moisturize and prime my lips for my lipstick going on soon. Do you guys hear that? My house is haunted. I mean, I know it's probably just the sound of it settling, but it's really, really creepy. Now with the big fluffy brush, I'm just going to dust off all the powder that we've left sitting on there for a while. And we'll see. Ooh, yes! See, that's with all the powder completely dusted off. That is really white, holy crap. Damn. That is some crazy pigment there. I was not expecting it to be this white, but I kind of like it. Damn. Makes my contour look good. Let's see the under eyes. I'm digging it. I can dig it. Now I've completely cleaned off my lips, taking off any foundation or concealer that was on there, and I'm going to be doing an ombre lip. I'm going to be using my LA Splash Lip Couture in the shade Venom, which is a black, and the shade OG Ghoulish, which is kind of a nude gray color. So I'm going to be combining these guys. The easiest way for you to do ombre lips is just to put on your darker color first, and then just kind of swipe on the light color, and then just all day until you get the perfect blend, because I find that brushes work really well for blending, but then if you just want to do, you know, something quick, just doing that makes it blend really seamlessly. Like, I didn't touch this up at all. This is all just from my natural lips rubbing together, which is pretty nice. I'm gonna go in with some false lashes. I'm not sure what brand these are, I apologize. I'm thinking Ardell, because they usually have packaging like this, but they're just some demi wispies in black. Now, because I'm not wearing any eyeliner, I just have some mascara on, I want to be sure to put this as close to my natural lash line as possible so it's not really obvious. Unless you don't care that people know you're wearing false lashes. Then you can do whatever you want. And once I usually get the end where I want it to be, I just use my tweezers to kind of gently guide the rest into place. Now that everything else is finished, I'm gonna go back in with my foundation and just clean up and cover my forehead. And that is it for my finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really love this look and I hope my friends like it too when we go out later. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you next time and have a good one. Bye.